Let's do a quick update on our campaign.
Campaign. Uh, I think we're over the halfway point in our signatures,
Yay!
so we're making good progress there. Uh, I took the week off campaigning.
I
Uh,
did not.
you did not, yes. So I was actually farming. So I am a full-time farmer, and we spent the last week. We took the first cutting of hay. We cultivated the crops, tried to combine wheat in between the showers, and uh, it was it was very productive until last night. Last night we had a 3-inch rainfall event, so this week I'll be back out on the campaign trail again. How was your week on the campaign trail?
It was great. We had a great time walking. We were getting our exercise in, walking neighborhoods, um, chatting. I had a partner in crime, and we had just a great night. Uh,
Nice,
and I went out several nights this week, so
nice,
we're
nice.
making good progress.
So one of the things I do, I have a lot of time in a machine, and I do listen to podcasts, and I'm going to try and tie a couple threads together here. I like to listen to podcasts about political economy by political economists. And political economists are basically economists that study the intersection between sociology, human behavior, economics, and politics. And anyway, they've been, there's it's actually a relatively modern field, like in the last decade. But anyway, not to get too far in the weeds,
Yeah,
inflation. In,
I'm hearing a lot about it. I'm feeling it actually. I just
we,
got back from the grocery store and put gas in my car. And every time I do,
yeah,
I buy roughly the same things and it's more.
yeah. So I think we need to tell that story a little bit from a political economy standpoint. So the first people to feel inflation are commodity producers, steel, aluminum, crops, oil, uh,
Gravel.
uh, yet mining. Obviously mining is one, but people who produce commodities feel inflation first, and usually, it takes uh, the minimum is like 6 months from a commodity producer. Say I'm producing corn and I am being bit by inflation with diesel costs and input costs, etc. And we have a good corn crop, and so I that that the inflation that I feel, it takes 6 months before it takes a minimum 6 months, but it really becomes endemic, and then it builds from there. And then you feel the inflation, and then you go buy a few less, clothing items or school supplies for your children, or you might put off a house repair, but inflation is endemic, and we're all feeling the inflation. So, the last 2 years, a lot of people don't think about this, but the farmers we'd been feeling, the crop farmers had been feeling the inflation before anybody else. It actually started in late 2022, 23. Uh, I'm wearing my Kansas cattleman hat tonight. Cattlemen, at the same time that crop farmers were suffering, cattle farmers had been, seeing record prices that we had never seen. And, I've been raising cattle for 40 plus years now, and I was seeing prices that I'd never seen. Now, beef consumers were seeing inflation. They were seeing that inflation terribly. Beef's been setting record high prices. But anyway, one of the things government has to deal with is inflation. And political economists, the levers that government has to play with. So the federal government, they play with monetary policy and interest rates and borrowing and, all kinds of things. At the state level, we don't really have that ability. We can't run a deficit. We have to have, a balanced budget. And so at the state level, we become concerned with, cost savings. Uh, uh, there's no easy way, but it's something that you're going to have to deal with. And, you can only pass the burden on so much. you know, people, when we're out gathering signatures for petitions, people are very aware of the property taxes.
Oh, yeah.
And so that'll probably be a video in and of itself.
Yeah.
That's a very deep topic.
And
But
there's a
anyway,
lot of building that's not going on because
yeah,
of it.
yeah, yeah.
I had a conversation with a guy who said he would like to build a garage, but instead he's repairing the roof on the lean-to he has and just kind of moving down the road because he does not want it to affect his property tax any more than it already has been in the last 3 or 4 years.
Yes. And so there is an example of background inflation affecting a personal decision, and, and that will have an effect upon the taxing entity, but that's going on quite a lot, quite a lot. Uh, Inflation is a problem, and every politician needs to be aware of it, acknowledge it, and, be prepared to speak to it, because it is, things that hit your pocketbook directly like that. I mean, there's instantaneous, it's not, it doesn't take, it's not like an old man who stomps his toe and it takes him 2 days to feel the pain. When inflation hits, everybody feels it, and, you need to be cognizant of that, and you need to work on strategies to deal with that, so innovation, demand, curtailing demand, we all have to
These are adaptive challenges
yeah, adaptive challenges
that are going to require new voices, new ideas in order to solve. If we think the way that we've always thought, we're not.
So you remember last winter when we carried the petition and we talked to the Cape to expand 75 highway, improve it, because it's a very dangerous highway, perhaps one of the most dangerous in Kansas. And we talked to the KDOT engineer, and he was relaying this story about how road costs have tripled in the last, 5-6 years. There's an example of commodity-based inflation hitting everybody, taking several years to build up, and then having, effects through time. But yeah, it's not just a diversity of voices, it's a diversity of perspectives.
Right.
Perspectives.
Right. I agree.
You remember the old what is the term?
Antics?
The old adage, or the truism, the guys with the elephant, 3 blind men with an elephant. One's got a hold of the tail, and he says, well, the elephant's just, this little, it's a tail. And another guy's got a hold of a leg, and he's like, boy, the elephant is just this huge straight, and another guy's got a hold of the trunk. So we're all experiencing it, but we're all experiencing it in different ways. But you do need to be cognizant of it if you're going to be a good steward of public resources. So it's probably enough about inflation for tonight.
Yeah, it's pretty depressing.
Yeah, reality sometimes can be.
But as long as you know where you're at, then and what you have, then you can
look in the historical perspective. And this is one thing, my grandfather had his first child in 31 and had a second child in 36 in the middle of the Great Depression, a 5-year gap between children.
Yeah.
And, that's what we're confronting here is not new, and it's not unique, and it's not, it could be, it's not something that hasn't been faced and dealt with before, and we'll be able to deal with it again. So got to stay positive.
I am positive. That's why I'm voting for you.
Good.
That's why I'm working for you.
You're my wife too.
I've seen you in crisis. I know how this goes.
Yeah.
So thanks for checking in with me.
Sounds good.